Technology today helps me tremendously in managing my diabetes. The advancement in technology has made me actually be inspired to take care of my diabetes because I can see it, it's a real thing. The pump was invented before my time.
I want to guess and say somewhere in the 60s or 70s.
I believe the pump was invented probably 22 years ago.
My best guess would be the late 1900s.
The first bihormonal closed-loop system was developed in 1964.
The actual device itself that included the insulin was actually the size of a backpack. I mean, probably a little bigger, and it was heavy, very clunky, not really something that could be feasibly worn on a day-to-day basis. And now we're actually able to implement something that our patients can use every day.
Glucometers, insulin pens, insulin syringes, all of those are very valid ways of managing diabetes.
There's really an array of options. Our patients just have to figure out what's going to work best for their lives.
Diabetes management is a marathon. It's not a sprint. There's no reason that you need to have every single device on day one. It's important to master each device at your own pace. This series is going to walk you through the basics. This video describes the tech. The next video will talk about how the tech will impact your management, and the last to address potential hurdles you might have in adopting tech.
These technologies are meant to help support you and support your life.
A cannula in your diabetes toolkit is really a tube that stays in your body that's made of plastic that really helps the insulin get into your body. A basal rate is your constant amount of insulin being administered over the course of an hour. A bolus is the amount of insulin you're administering at a given time. An extended bolus is a total amount of insulin you want to administer, and you break it up over time. For example, if I am eating pasta, I need a lot of insulin. I also know that it takes a while for the pasta to metabolize and impact my blood sugar, so I use extended bolus to make sure I'm covering the full amount at the right times for my body.
A CGM is a continuous glucose monitor, and it checks your blood sugar every 5 minutes, and so it gets it from fluid, and then it allows it to read it that way.
In general, we do recommend checking blood sugars at least 5 times per day. So usually before meals, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then also at bedtime. And so the 5th one can be kind of anywhere else. But when you're sick, we want you to check every 3 hours to make sure that your blood sugars aren't rising high. And then we also recommend checking ketones at the same time to make sure that you don't have diabetic ketoacidosis. So having to do that, it can be really, really cumbersome. You can have just a continuous glucose monitor without having a pump, especially the ones that we have now. They're so small. They're like the size of a button. You can just plop them on your arm. It's pretty much hidden, but you're getting so much rich data. Most of the devices go to your phone nowadays. For the low-tech group of devices, these would include our Bluetooth insulin pens. It's a little bit more hands-off, so if you're not feeling like you're ready to jump in or drink the Kool-Aid and start with a insulin pump, this is actually a great stepping stone to start. So you can dial up the pen, however many units that you're supposed to bolus. A phone app can actually keep track of when you give these boluses. So you don't have to keep it in the back of your mind or write it down in a log. The next group of devices we consider the low-touch diabetes technologies. This includes just being on an insulin pump itself, not necessarily in the closed-loop system. So how these devices work are it's just a pump. You have your insulin settings in, so you have your basal rates, and then you have your correction factor and your carb ratio that's programmed into the pump. So you have your insulin regimen in there, but you still have to interact with the pump.
There are a couple different types of insulin pumps. There are tube pumps, and then there are tubeless pumps. With tube pumps, you have a pump that looks like a beeper or a phone for those who don't even know what a beeper is. And you put that in your pocket, you put it on your waist with like a clip, and there's a tube, different lengths that connect to an adhesive piece that then with some of those connects to another piece that has what's called a cannula that goes underneath your skin.
The automated insulin delivery system, or the closed loop system, this is our Cadillac version of diabetes technology. This is actually where the insulin pump directly gets feedback and information from the continuous glucose monitor. If your blood sugars from your continuous glucose monitor are trending upward, the pump can actually respond and give you either micro boluses or increase the basal to help cover that high blood sugar rise.
Every 5 minutes, or in some cases every 1 minute, these devices can speak to your pump, and then your pump is able to treat your sugar level to give you insulin or kind of hold some back. The technology I use to manage my diabetes is a tubeless insulin pump, the Omnipod, and a Dexcom G7, and I have those two devices loop using DIY loop, which is not FDA cleared. There are a lot of open source applications that people are using to manage their blood sugar levels. The reason these were created is because they're able to implement advanced features way further and way faster than the FDA cleared systems that our big pharma has, because they are not held by all these tough regulations. They made a Night Scout app that will project blood sugar levels. And I mean, it even shows you like a graph. It has a nighttime mode. It's a pretty advanced app. And that's why this technology is so special, because it allows you to just let your system regulate sugar levels and insulin dosage so that you can be in the moment and address the problem when you need to, when you get an alert.
And those are systems where they work, hopefully as much as possible, in the background while you live your life, so that there's less work associated with diabetes. And we're still hoping for, a bihormonal subcutaneous system eventually that infuses both insulin and glucagon.